Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another On the Flank. We had a hot show last weekend. We had like 6 people on board and it was off the chain. I loved it. But listen, hopefully this episode is way better. But Colin, best dressed, do your thing, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into On the Flank. It's Colin Clarke. I am sitting across, of course, from the main man himself, Velly, everybody's favorite host on the desk each and every day. But Velly, we got two, I like to call them VIP, very important people on the show tonight. And I mean, so important. Both of them sporting beanies, so I like it. They did a little coordination on their own.
My ears are cold, you know?
Nah, I live in the mountains.
Right, PR, you look kind of familiar, man. Who are you? What do you do? And why are you here?
I'm PR, analyst, caster for Gears of War, Ghost Gaming manager. I do a little bit of everything. Funky bunch for life,
Aye. And then we have this shitty player that his teammates left him. Tell them who you are, man.
I am Hesah. You already know, baby. PJJ Ultimate King. I'm just kidding, but yeah, I'm just a Gears of War pro trying to make it out here.
The Shuffle God.
Oh yeah, that too.
Hey, but let's open up the show with a bang. Yo, so the very first topic, G&T and simplicity. First question, Hesah, why do these teams suck so much, man? What's going on with Roster Mania? What's going on with your team? What's going on with your ex-teammates? Shed some light.
Honestly, I feel like the reason why teams suck so much right now is because people they're going into these games and making teams, but they're literally just thinking about salary or some check. Like I play with Kevin and Musix, obviously. Those are like my two main teammates.
Yeah.
And these guys they don't make too much money from Gears, but they're not like focused on salary, if that makes sense. Like when we play the game, like we literally play to give it our all. Like we enjoy playing the game when we do because we don't play it all the time. And I feel like I thought I knew some of my ex-teammates because that's how they projected themselves to be. But in reality, man, like once kids get like a little $300, $400, $500 salary offer, they
has
go
good big,
for
right?
it. And what blows my mind the most though about it is like I respect it. Like chase your check, get your money, right?
Get it how you can.
Yeah, exactly. But like, make it worth it. Like, I feel like some of these snakes, man, it's almost disrespectful at this point. Like, it's like, what are you leaving for? Like, explain to me. Like,
so to shed light out there, this guy he was on a team. They got second place in Toronto. We've spoken about in the last 2 episodes. So you might get tired of it, or you might love the topic. But your team in the last 2K, tell us who it was.
My team in the last 2K was Firearm, Musix, X, and Hesy.
All right, and now your ex-teammates, Tody and Crushmo, they left that second place team to go and play with Kenny, Zenon, and Sneak. So that happened in the 2K. What are your first thoughts about these two rosters?
That actually happened. I have to just point that out. That happened literally Saturday night at 11 p.m. We got snaked.
Shut up.
Yikes.
Yep. That's how Gears is sometimes. Pretty toxic. But continue. What'd you say?
Colin, how do you feel about what's been going on with just Roster Mania as a whole and just these two rosters right here?
It keeps my head spinning because all I can think about is like, how the hell do all these people keep making moves and have all this fake loyalty? Like, you get on a new squad, it's like together forever, no matter how long, from now until the end of time. And then 6 hours later, it's like, hey, look, I could offer you like $5 and a black and mild more, and you're like, I guess I'm going to a new team. I guess that's what's going to happen. But to speak on these two teams, I think Hesy and Exclusive coming off of Simplicity is actually a major move, in my opinion, because I think Exclusive was probably their most clutch player coming off of Simplicity. He made play after play for that team, and Hesy and him seem to be a little bit of a duo.
A tank.
And with the core of what I was calling yesterday, I found out I was a little bit wrong, but I was calling him PJJ 2.0. With that core of Hesah, Firearm, and Musix, I just thought that team could just make waves. They have all the correct pieces. They've got 5 guys who really just want to get after it day in and day out, and I think it's a brilliant move on their part. I really hope that those 5 guys can stay together because I think they have the right pieces. On the flip side, I hope Kenny bought 16 backpacks on Black Friday because he gonna need 16 and a half backpacks with the team that's around.
Shut up, man.
He gonna need it. My man Kenny's
that's
so
disrespectful.
good.
That's so disrespectful.
Good.
That is so disrespectful.
No. It's not disrespect to his teammates. It's you have a player who's won that many championships and is that good. And then I look around him and I'm like, I hope he didn't handpick this. I'm praying he didn't handpick this.
These
I know
rosters
Kenny's
are forced.
Yeah,
swear
to
to
me,
God.
I agree. I think it has 100%. These rosters are forced, and these are just a bunch of leftovers.
Like,
I think teams right now are just struggling to beat Optic to the point where every roster is just worried.
Yep.
They should be worried. They should be. There's no reason not to be worried with all with the domination coming out of Optic Gaming.
Yeah.
I mean, Velly, you can speak on it. You see a dynasty, and you're willing to do anything in the world to beat that team. And so you have to do. Sometimes you have to do what I would call, the craziest of moves. You have to do roster mania. You have to force somebody else's hand. But I mean, it's coming down to a point where 2 events left. You don't want to see the dynasty win every tournament at the end of season 2. I think from July all the way into next summer. So it's one of those things where you're going to start doing your best to just make whatever moves possible.
And I think it's at the point where you see how many teams struggle to be Optic. Very few players can actually do it. And this is what I was talking to you guys before, where the show is going to be spicy, because I think the majority of the players in the top 8, excluding Optic, excluding some of the players on that Ghost roster and everything, simply just don't know how to play the game the right way. Like, they think getting 30 kills is enough. They think getting a win in a scrim is enough. And it's just like, you guys got to go deeper than that and figure out why you're winning, why you're losing, and actually take the time. But instead, you got players that are recycling the same players. You see the same players on the same teams with the same. I'm not saying there's a bunch of AM players out there that can go and do it better. I'm not saying that, because quite frankly, they don't know how to play the game either. I think people just need to go back to the drawing board and just relearn how to play Gears.
Yeah, before I chime in, I just want to give a big shout out to not only just the viewers on Twitch, but also I'm going to give a shout out to Mixer, because on Mixer right now, we're pushing 240 viewers. So that's pretty insane. So, shout out to everybody on Mixer. We love you guys.
Yeah.
That's actually amazing, because we just started streaming on Mixer not too long ago. So I want to thank everyone out there. And I love Mixer to death. But PR, like, it kind of kills me, because now we have 2 events left in the season. Now, when you put that in perspective, you have to look at your best bet of being Optic. When people think that logically, they think, and you can't blame them, they say, hey, let's get the bigger names, the people that have been there before. But that's not always the case, because you saw what happened with Hesah's crew in Toronto. Now, they obviously had a winning formula and something that worked, because they beat Reciprocity, which is a damn good team. And, they challenged Optic. And the fact that they broke up, it's like, where's your head at? Like, mentally, you're not looking at the bigger picture. It's kind of like you're scared to where you're forcing things now for, paycheck, or I don't know, but
or they try and chase names.
You're not looking for a team that's gonna win. You're looking for a team that's gonna make you feel comfortable, because you're playing with big names now. And I reached out to Crushmo, and I posted something about, we were cheated. I just seen what GNT could do. You guys had it, but now Kenny's team they lost to Hive, and that shouldn't happen. That wouldn't have happened with Simplicity, and it wouldn't have happened with GNT.
Oh, no, why shouldn't have Kenny's team lost to Hive?
I was saying that because I feel like that team shouldn't exist, first off, but just that team should have lost to Hive. I was actually correcting myself.
On paper, like, yes.
On paper,
Kenny,
Hive is better.
Hold on, everybody on that team, that Kenny's team is phenomenally talented. You heard Colin praise Kenny, and everybody knows I'm friends with Kenny.
I don't like the.
I'm not gonna be biased. I think Kenny is not getting enough clout, I guess, for lack of a better word, for what he actually does for a team. So people don't really see it because Kenny. So I'm not going to overhype him. I'm biased. I'm his friend, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. But Kenny, I mean, realistically, they were a pickup team going against 4/5 of a real team. I think, and then Exovius plays with them all the time.
But you can't really use that as an excuse to pickup team, because
should win though. They've had more practice, they've had more reps, they've had more time on maps. They know certain smokes. Instead of you gotta think of what's going on. Kenny, Crush, Motodi. They're like throw the smoke here, right? And then they have a general idea of where they want to throw the smoke, but not where you want to throw the smoke. That comes with repetition and reps and practice.
But that doesn't matter. Like people use that excuse with like every other team out there, but Hesah, like your team. You guys were made at
no
the
practice.
same time as that team. No practice.
We
got second
no
place, no practice against reciprocity.
My point, you had those same players on PJJ. What happened then?
But it wasn't the same full roster, though.
I know. What I'm talking about is back then with PJJ. He had phenomenal players. Everyone knew PJJ was a great up-and-coming team. He left for a better team. Q did the same.
A legit offer with higher salary and actual top tier players.
That was Q's
call. I didn't leave for Sham Dubali.
You go back and play with a very similar core that you've always played with of them, and you did phenomenal, right? So some pickup teams are a godsend, some aren't. Some need practice, some don't. Some have that honeymoon phase, some don't.
Maybe some teams just don't work.
That too. Not every player is just gonna be well together, and that brings me to like these roster changes are just complete. I guess panic. End of season panic.
I feel like chemistry is definitely something special that people like to overlook. Whenever I look at teams, whenever they're made, they always look at names and whatnot. The one thing I always look at are just the roles and the psyche of the players, because I feel like there's a certain mindset that has to mesh when it comes to these players. And when you take a look at Hesah's team, they all had the same psyche. They all had the same mindset, the same goals, the same everything. Like they're like actual friends. Like they get along and just they meshed well. They meshed well. But when you look at Kenny's team, you're bringing in Xenon and Sneak, and then you have Kenny and Tony and Crush, and it was just so different to me. It didn't look like a good team. On paper, yeah, those are all great players, but it just didn't look like a good team. Shit, you look at Hesah's team that played. On paper, that team didn't look like they were going to do much at all. Let's be honest.
I know. Facts.
If you told me, hey, this team is gonna take Diner off of Optic, I'm gonna sit there like, shut the fuck up. Like,
I mean, that's not completely like unheard of. That's like Optic's worst map that they don't ban.
But still, though, it's still Optic though. At the end of the day, where you're not talking about the scrubby bummies,
teams
the
have been
funky bunch.
Right. Optic, like I'm saying in my head, being here for a while, taking Diner off of them, and maybe I just think Q is a better team. You know what I mean? Than what most people think going up against Optic, putting Q's team against Optic. I can see them. They almost did it in Toronto.
Yeah, I'm not
gonna. Real quick, can we stop talking about how Optic is bad at Diner? Did anybody else witness what they did in the grand finals last tournament on Diner?
Yeah.
They backhanded Rise 7-0 on it, and then somebody else picked Diner against them, and they backhanded them.
They destroyed.
Colin with the back. Can we stop saying it's a bad map for them? Literally,
I want to butt in too, man.
With Ashes, and somebody made the comment that like Optic's worst map is Diner. I'm like, if they've backhanded two people on Diner, like, is it because Hesah's team pushed them to that round 13? Is that why it's their bad map? Is that what? Is that what's happening?
I think it's just the most. I think it's the map they show the most mistakes total.
I want to butt in one small thing.
Go ahead.
I have a history of playing Optic like on LAN, and obviously they always win. But I always take a map. I'm not kidding. I did it every event except Vegas.
You beat them on lift when they never lost. The only lift that Optic ever lost was against this guy.
Yeah. And on Foundation, regionals, we played them on Foundation and Reclaimed, and first map we lost 7-6.
When you were with what, Kraz and them at the regional in New York?
Yeah, at the New York.
Yeah. Kraz, Rosado, Sam.
Yeah.
Hesah actually matches up pretty okay against Optic, which is funny.
What is it, Hesah? What are you drinking? What's in the water? What's in the water? They take maps.
I know how good Optic is, and you really just have to play their game. And I feel like when you're playing Optic, like they're obviously like the shit, but in reality, everyone makes mistakes. In my head, the only thing I tell myself when I play these guys is whoever makes the most mistakes is gonna lose. Simply because everyone makes mistakes, but we just can't make more than them, and at the wrong time. And it's usually how it plays out.
It works. But yeah, But to rewind so we can move on to the next topic, I feel like the practice excuse thing is out the window. I think it's silly. I mean, the fact that two players left a team that actually did well without giving it a chance to fail, I feel like you set yourself up for an L kind of like that. Because if you don't make it now, you're always gonna have a what if. You're gonna have a what if scenario. You know, what if we stuck with Hesah in them and we actually became like a top 4 team? You know, what if we actually became the best team in the game? What if?
Hey,
How
Bell,
long did you guys play with each other before the Toronto event?
Not like maybe a
Last
week,
minute.
bro. Last minute, bro. Last minute. And honestly, I still don't even know why we got snaked. We had the max vibes, max good times. Literally, like I don't know what happened. Like kids, literally.
It's doubt. It's doubt.
I
Some people do this
Max-
because it's
But what are you
doubt on
gonna
the
doubt
inside.
when you do so well?
We-
What is there to
just
doubt?
play second.
That's a question you gotta ask them.
Hey,
I don't
hey,
know,
Hesah,
man.
They
Hesah,
probably
I got your answer.
didn't
I'm gonna
think they would get second. That's my guess would be they probably didn't think they would get second, so they got second and were like, "Hey, we're not gonna do this good again. Let me leave." But it's only been a week. That's why I
have
asked.
that mindset. You have 2 events left. Like give it a chance to fail. Playing a few 2Ks. Say, hey, you know we suck. Okay, we gave it a shot. We're done.
suck.
But like I understand if it's just a pickup team in just a random local land, but you're talking about like beating actual pro teams, and it's just like, dude, like the formula is there. Why ruin it? So I mean, me personally, I'm sick of it because after looking at roster mania, every team has consistently gotten worse. Simplicity has gotten worse. GNT no more. Like the Hesah, when you snaked on certain teams, they got worse. When you left motivating them, like it doesn't work, man. And people they're gonna have to learn to realize that the grass is never greener on the other side. It's never greener on the other side. Like if you're successful and you find success, stick with it. Shit, fire and ice, drop Zenon.
Would you
I
say
noticed all
earlier,
these roster
like-
changes too. They bring the bad habits over to the next team.
Hive is never gonna be the same.
Hey, look, Bell, real quick. I got an answer for Hesah. He said he didn't know why they got snaked because he said it was max vibes, it was max everything. Here it is. I'm gonna get real close to the mic. I'm gonna say it nice and clear. Max ignorance. There you go. There's your answer.
Wait, Escamani, he asked a question. He said, why do we always hear the preach from players who get dropped but never their flaws and why they get replaced?
I don't think Hesah got dropped. I think just Crush One Tony left.
They just left.
Yeah, they just
But I
left.
mean, if Hesah got dropped, 2 of his teammates got dropped by 2 people.
But you know
that's
what,
not the
Escamani?
thing.
Let me say this. Let me just put this out there. There's a platform out there. It doesn't have to be just me. It could just be YouTube, whatever you want to do, your own stream, whatever, on the flank. Hey, to where the team can actually go out there and voice their opinion on why the player was dropped. That way, you don't have to have that one player always preaching. You can have the real side out there. It keeps the community engaged, and it helps out your scene. So I just want to put that out there.
No, hey, Vel, you know why nobody does that? Because everybody's really afraid to get on anybody's bad side. Like there's so many roster changes.
I'll get on
that
everybody's bad side.
You have no idea who you're
I'm the bad
teaming
guy.
with in 2 weeks.
Stupid.
You have almost no clue. So therefore,
Deluxe got shit for it one time. He like quoted a tweet of somebody saying their roster for the end of the season. He's like, these won't last, and then they gave him shit for it. Like,
Yeah.
he's not
that's
wrong.
why, in my opinion, they can't. Nobody's gonna say why somebody got dropped. Like nobody's gonna have the balls to do that. I'm just gonna say it as clear as possible. Nobody has the actual sand to go. I think they lacked this, and this. This is why we as a team decided to drop that person. Because in 2 weeks, you could be a lot worse than that person, and you're looking up at them, and now you have to explain why you thought you were better than them at that time. If you're gonna have the courage of your conviction. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Have the courage.
And the thing in Gears of War, everyone tries so hard to be best friends with people at the top to where it ruins who they are as a person. Like I've been around and I've seen. Remember, Intel Vale had pro players in his DMs 24/7.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because you see players, they make a team or they act brother with people, and then like everyone talks about each other behind each other's back. So save that friendly stuff and just be real. You're in this for you. This is a business at the end of the day. You're making a team for yourself to be successful. You're gonna hurt feelings along the way. Just don't keep it personal. Learn to move on and learn not to be a little girl when something bad goes wrong. And that's pretty much it. I just feel like people like put out shit, if a team change happens, like put out a YouTube video, talk about what happens. If the player wasn't cutting it, hey, Rise Nation, we dropped Franco because Franco, he just wasn't picking it up. Hey, Simplicity, we dropped Zenon because we don't believe Zenon's play style was working or he was inconsistent. He choked. Like stuff like that, Like I just don't get it. But I mean, hey, y'all want to move on? Y'all got anything else to say about the Simplicity? Because this is about to annoy me in a second. So anybody have anything else to say about this topic?
Nope.
Whenever you choose your team, like Velly said, make sure you're looking at all the outside things, because I think that goes a long way when choosing your teammates.
Because can I say something? Because that boy Firearm and that boy Music, they've done more work than so many pros in the scene. And Music don't even place pro. And Music is a dog and he's an animal. And he's never going to get a legit shot until he continues to prove himself event after event. When he's been here, getting second place, beating pro teams. People don't even want to give Firearm a shot because they think Firearm is trash.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Firearm keeps getting dropped. Shit. Zenon kept getting dropped season 2. And every time Zenon got dropped,
he did better.
He would place top 6 again and again, while the team that dropped him actually did worse and would place top 12 multiple times. So it comes to a point where it's like there's a circle where they believe that they know everything and they know what's right. Oh, we played the game. You don't know nothing. You're a caster. Well, yeah, us being removed from the game allows us to look at things differently without any emotion behind it. We look at what happens and we talk on it. And some of these players that you guys are jumping for, some of these players that you're dumping, your perception of them is wrong most of the time. So take a deep, good look at these players throughout the rest of this roster mania, because a lot of these players are actually really good and they deserve a really big shot. Like it's insane to me that Firearm isn't talked about so often. It drives me crazy because those players are really hustling and they want it. But yeah, any closing words?
Nope, just
Stop
get
being
better.
dumb.
That too. Stop being dumb and get better.
It's kind of annoying. We have 2 more events, and it's just like, stop taking this shit for granted.
It's Mexico and what? Am I out of the loop?
Mexico and
It's the playoffs, like the season finale. I keep calling it a playoff, but you know what I mean.
Damn.
You know what
Playoffs. Imagine we did have a playoff.
I didn't know that was a
I
thing.
wish. That'd be dope. But let's move on to the next topic though. Nula Ghost Gaming. So, Colin, you watched the 2K, right?
Oh, baby.
PR, you saw that SSFR roster, right?
That's a good. It's
So,
a good roster.
Don't forget that eye, baby. That eye is crucial.
Is SFRI? Okay, SSR. All
It's
right,
their
yo,
initials.
college.
Speedy, Sleepy,
Fran,
Rushies, Fran,
Icy,
Icy.
baby.
Yep.
So, in case you guys have been living under a rock, the roster is exactly what they said. Franchise and Icy played in place of Rezik and Identips. So, for the very first time in season 2, we pretty much have that God squad that people kind of wanted Ghost Gaming to pretty much make with, Speedy and Reshies and pairing with other players from Echo Fox, because that has been spoken about. And it's finally happening, and they're in the finals right now. So on Fight Night on Wednesday, I'm going to be there with Guy Blaze coming at you live, and we're going to cast this matchup. What are your thoughts on that roster? Because, Jacob, honestly, you know this team more than anybody else. How do you honestly, do you think that,
Who's the IGL?
Wait, what?
Who's the IGL?
Good question.
Okay, so I'm trying to one question at a time. What was the first one? What do I think of the roster?
Yeah.
I think this is a phenomenal roster. Like, no one can really hate it. I think this is one of the few winners of Roster Mania. And not even necessarily of a winner. To me, it's not even like winner, because did they really get better? They were already the second best team. So the only way they could have got better is if they get first.
You took the second and third place team, the second and third best team in Gears, and just combined them.
Yep. To me,
I like it.
Just combine.
In my head, I'm gonna see almost the same exact thing we were seeing from Ghost before, but this time it's with Fran and Icy.
Really? Do you think they?
I think this team. I thought the other Ghost team. I thought the other Ghost team, dating all the way back to when Ribs was on the Ghost team. I thought every one of those teams had the potential to be Optic. They just need to find it within themselves to come together as an actual team and push forward and actually win. They've came close many times, even dating back to when Drix and Keem were on Ghost. So let me even bring it back to last season. They could have beat that Optic squad. They could have beat that Optic squad.
They could have.
And many people know what goes on the insides, and I'm not going to elaborate too much on what goes on the inside. You guys can have your idea based off streams and rumors, but the team just needs to be able to come together. And they're going to have the same problems they had as the last Ghost until they come together. My thoughts on them.
Colin,
As for
you work, you think
I think
they
Speedy with a mix of Fran.
really? Okay, Speedy with a mix of Fran at the IGLs, but Colin, what are your first thoughts to this roster? Our first time seeing them play.
Well, here's a couple big thoughts. A couple big thoughts is this. Everybody knows that, I had a lot of hatred for how poorly Ghost played against Optic every time they went against him. I use the phrase all the time that they were 0 for their life against Optic, which they are. But I think this was the best move they could do, because with Rezik beat him in a pool play scenario when he was on Allegiance. Identives when he was on Ronin, I believe, beat them last season in Vegas, and that's who sent them home, or Las Vegas, that's who sent him home. But outside of that, was he on Ghost at that point?
Yeah, he was on Ghost. That's when they won Vegas.
So out of the entire roster, prior to Mr. Ribs not being a part of that roster anymore, only one person on that roster had ever beaten Optic, and it was in a pool play setting. And then you get rid of Rezik, who beat him in a pool play setting, and you get rid of Identives, who's never beaten him, and you take Speedy and Rushies, who are a duo, who are two unbelievably great slayers in the game. Speedy has become, in his own right, a phenomenal IGL, because that's the role he had to fill. You throw in a little Sleepy Time, who's one of the most mature people on the scene, who's one of the smartest people on the scene, and then you add in, somebody that's beaten him in a grand finals, like Franchise.
Okay.
And then you throw in somebody who wants more than anything, probably more than he can breathe, to beat Optic Gaming, Icy. And I think you have the right mixture to at least give them the best run that they've had. It won't be as embarrassing as it was for Ghost Gaming in San Diego, where Optic didn't even get up and get hype. At least against G&T in Toronto, Explosive got up until firing to put his bank account on it. In San Diego, nobody on Optic even showed emotion. So I'm hoping now we have a roster that can pull that out of them, but with still the 5 best players, or 5 of the best players, with a god and a coach like Ashes, it's gonna take everything and anything to beat that team.
I think the X factor is gonna have to be Icy. I feel like Sleepy is consistently doing what Sleepy has always done. I feel like Franchise, he now gets 2 players, Speedy and Reshies, who are always gonna perform at 100%. They're not gonna have an off day. They're always gonna perform, because that's why they're so damn good. But Franchise, when he goes against the better teams in the game, his real skill shows up. Franchise actually becomes a slayer, and Franchise, he kills everything in his sight. He's nobody to worry about. But if there's one person I really feel like is going to have to be the X factor, and I've said it time and time again, and I'm going to stand by it, I really feel like Icy can either be the scariest person in the game, or he's going to be the person you're going to look at like, yo, we need him to win. So I feel like if Icy can do the damn thing, it's going to be a problem, because Icy can reach a level that Sleepy can't. Icy can reach a level, I feel like Icy can take over a game in so many ways that Franchise can't. As just a power weapon player slayer. Franchise is the best IGL out there besides, Explosive. But I feel like Icy can be on the level of Rushies and Speedy, but are we going to get that Icy? Because Icy on Optic was scary as shit. He was scary as hell. He was dominant. And if he can come back to that form, that team is going to be a problem. But it's all an if, and we're going to find out on Fight Night.
We name it X Factors now? I'm stuck on that. We name it my X Factor's a little bit different.
Go ahead.
My X Factor Speedy.
Ooh.
It has nothing to do with the game either. He knows what the X Factor is.
Okay.
I think we all know what the X Factor is.
Speedy is that guy.
He needs
the tea kettle that he needs to
be better. Yeah, he just needs to be better, because he has everything you would want out of a Gal player. Yeah. Everything. I've seen him drop triple doubles. I've seen him drop everything. He needs to be able to just bring it together and be that leader for his team. He is the leader. He's the IGL. He's done it for a year, 2 years. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. He needs to appear. It's not about the thumbs anymore with Speedy. He's best
Yeah,
player.
I was low key thinking about the exact same thing. Speedy's
He needs to bring
beyond
it up here,
talented.
and I'm not using this as an opportunity to like talk down on Speedy because he's probably one of my favorite people in Gears of War outside of Funky Bunch.
Yeah.
Literally one of my favorite people. Reminds me of my brother. This is me coming from the heart. If Speedy's listening, you need to get it together, and you guys will beat Optic. It's simple as that. You
Make it
are the
happen,
X
man.
factor. You take over the game, take over your team, and beat them. Sounds
You know,
simple.
they're gonna have to take their time with this because with 2 events being left, this is it for them. I wouldn't want to make a change. They're gonna have to make this work. The reason why I didn't name Speedy or Rushies an X Factor is because I stand by them being like honestly like the 2 best players, like really like the keys to like beating Optic if you're gonna beat them consistently because those guys will always cause problems and you can't consistently kill them. You can't. You can't. But as a player, has it like how do you like genuinely feel about this team?
Ghost. I feel like this team is like they're trying to make some Optic moves, like how Optic picked up Praise and Solars. Like, yeah, that sounds nice. So does this. They picked up Icy and Friend. Yeah, that sounds nice. But are they gonna match? Like, I feel like the passion with Speedy and Icy is just gonna really click. But
Yeah.
back to like what PR said, like he literally was saying everything I wanted to say. I truly believe Speedy's just too emotional of a leader. He brings everything that you need, but just more. Now he's just bringing too much. He's bringing way too much to the team. We don't need that. We don't need somebody to think about how my teammate just got like onesie three'd by some kid. You need to be thinking about like we're still in this the next round. Whatever it happens, it happens. My teammate's not playing the best at the moment, and I feel like he's missing that composure. I guess that composure factor.
Oh my bad.
Hey, as a former pro,
something.
because I want to ask.
What did I say?
I want to ask. No. I was thinking about what you were saying, Hesah, and I actually was trying to formulate the question. I was trying to figure out how to word it in my head. I always enjoy asking players or coaches this a lot when I get a chance to speak to them. And if you look at the new Ghost roster, is Speedy who you would go with if I asked you if for all $2 million on the circuit, you longest respawns round 13, you have to win a 1v1 on their home hill. Who's the last person on that roster you want to see? Do you go with Speedy? Is that who you go with, Hesah?
Ghost. I would honestly go with. I'd go with Speedy. Truthfully.
I go Vel. Speedy or Rushies. Speedy would probably be number one.
Speedy or Rushies?
Rushies is 1A. He's right there behind him. I've seen Rushies do stuff where like back in the day I try and correct him, right? But he gets 4 or 5 kills and I'm just like, how do you correct 4 or 5 kills to win you the round? Like, okay, you did great, you got those kills, but this could have happened, but then he does it again and it's just like, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But see, that means I hate to say it, PR, but did you at least explain to him what the proper play is? Because that feeds all the way back to something you said at the top of the show where you said that people they've lost sight of how to truly play the game. And if you're just letting something like that go by the wayside, I'm hoping you at least informed him of how it should have gone.
100%, and then he'll let me know. Well, that's why Rush is a lot smarter than people kind of give him credit for. Because if you guys actually have a conversation with him about scenarios and situations and stuff, a lot of people would really expect it at all. But like, I think it's just like instinct. He feeds off and he plays off his instinct of, can I take this? Yes or no. He doesn't think, is this a smart play or not? He thinks, can I take this? Yes or no? Yes. He's in there.
So sometimes what I think that comes from though is just expecting people to miss shots, even though that sounds weird. Like sometimes we go into fights like you're not gonna hit that shot, like you're simply not. And if you do, it's only gonna be a 90. And if I happen to die, fuck it. Oh, sorry.
You're fine. We're grown. Okay.
Please don't say that again.
I enjoy so much how everybody at least once a week drops the F-bomb and then apologizes. I enjoy it so much.
It's so funny. But moving on, Colin, man. Your time to shine. The 2K recap. I was driving. Unfortunately, I was coming back up from North Carolina. I was with the fiance, her grandparents. Only game I was able to catch was the Kenny and Hive game. But educate us a little bit, Colin.
So I'm going to start where I normally like to start, which is that top 8 sector. And at the very top of the bracket on that top 8 sector, we had Optic Gaming playing. I call them Team Canada because it had some of my favorite Canadians on the team, somebody like Dynamic Jedi playing for them. But Optic Gaming makes slight work of them. Big shout out to all 3 people from Optic Gaming that were streaming yesterday. Praised, I believe,
Toto
streaming
is
Summons.
beautiful.
Summons, Praised, and Explosive were all streaming their 2Ks from their perspectives. If you could have wanted a front row view to the best team in Gears of War right now, you had 3 different options. You could have bought a front row seat to any of those options. But Optic Gaming makes slight work of them to move into that top 4 position. And then you move down one section. You got Hive minus Zerp, but plus everybody's favorite amateur, I guess you'd call him, Zovios, or Noe, as a lot of people like to call him on Twitter. Zovios, is that what we're gonna go with? Is that okay?
Zovios.
So
he's gonna be on Optic next year.
Hive plus Zovios minus Zerp thing. They played Optimal GG or PJJ 2.0 as I was calling them as I watched the stream, and I actually really enjoyed that matchup because for me, everybody liked to talk, especially going into the Charity Invitational, how good Hive was, and then afterwards when they got kind of obliterated a couple of times, and then Zerp was just down on himself, and he made that tweet where he said it was the biggest waste of his time.
I feel so bad for him.
And then they pick up a guy like Zovios who has quite the mouth on him. He likes to do a lot of chirping. He's a bit like Woody Woodpecker. He might get on your nerves, but he does have a lot of gun skill, so you kind of have to give him his time to shine. And they end up falling to PJJ 2.0 or Optimal GG. Big shout out to Hesah right here in the stream. That team, again, is so talented. Like, I look at that roster from top to bottom, and I think there were a lot of rounds where they had early control, and they went ahead and closed out rounds. It's one of the things that I like to see the most. I love consistency. I love when a team has the ability to take control and then close a round out. My biggest fear is to watch a team have control and then lose it. We move on from that. We go to Rise, who was playing minus Jerpy Jeff plus Keem. The coach came right off of the backstage.
Keem is a dog.
Team Keem.
Keem Kong came in there and let everybody and they mama have it. All right, because Reciprocity had a bit of a different look from what we're used to. It wasn't the same Reciprocity we saw at the Charity Invitational. They still called themselves Re-Up instead of Rec, and it was shock.
You get it right.
Yeah,
Reunited.
Yeah. Okay. I got it. They tweeted out the picture. It was so cute. Reunited, and it feels so good. Apparently, Shock, Rezik playing with each other again. It was not in that way. Y'all take that however you want. Shock, Kyle, Rezik, Pell, and Crash playing as a re-upped team against Rise with Keem, and didn't quite go the way that I'm pretty sure that honeymoon wanted to end. So Rise Nation takes care of them. I love Rise Nation. I think all those players are playing out of their minds right now. I didn't pick them one time at the Columbus Charity Invitational, and I looked like the biggest idiot come late Sunday night. So big ups to them, especially the man Powers, the god, the legend right now in my book. He's just he's absolutely on fire with everything he goes to. And then at the very bottom, New Look Ghost Gaming, or New Look, however you want to call it, SSFRI played the demo squad, I guess you'd call it, which was Clouts, which was 4 members of the last team demo played on. It was Clouts, Blast, God Plays, Demo. Blast, God Plays, and Clouts have always played really well when they've been paired up with Demo. Demo seems to be his most comfortable when he's with those guys, so I expected them to do really well. And then they brought in somebody that I didn't expect at all. When I saw the roster, I said, hold on, let me take my contact out, put in some solution, read it again. Toy Soldier. Toy Soldier was the 5th on that team, and he played Holmes most of the day. His old Season 1 role with Team Envious, they had him playing Holmes a lot, and he did really well all day on Holmes. I like to watch his point of view, his cam perspective. He did really well. They come up against SSFRI, and the scariest thing was that SSFRI ended up losing a lot of initials and ended up losing a lot of map control, especially on Forge Blitz, where this demo squad had a lot of chances to win rounds. They had 2, maybe 3 members on the opposing home hill, medium respawns, not the highest. I think it was round like 3, 4, and rounds 9 and 10, where they had chances to win rounds. They had chances to close things out. Couldn't do it. Don't know why, don't know how, whether it was Icy getting a two-piece. At one point, my man Frank got a two-piece coming off spawn. Speedy doing what he does best, where he was just getting in people's faces, making a couple moves, made somebody miss here and there. Bang, kills him, takes him down. So Demo Squad gets taken out by this SSFRI squad, and we move into the top 4 now. Top 4, SSFRI played Rise minus Jeff plus Keem. Closer than the previous matchup with Demo.
Really?
But it's how do I put this? I put closer because there's a lot of gunfights going in the opposite direction where you think somebody is going to make a shot or somebody's going to get the correct playoff, and it doesn't happen. So you're expecting one thing, you get the opposite, but the higher seeded team, we went by chalk. SSFRI moved on from that top 4 to that top 2. They end up taking out Rise Nation, which probably felt good, especially to a guy like Franchise, because he spent about an hour and a half of his life at Columbus getting yelled at by Powers across main stage. So that I know it's not the same thing, but it probably felt a little bit better. Probably couldn't have been the worst feeling in the world. They move on to the fight night, to the finals, and at the top part, or at the top part of the bracket, we had Optic Gaming versus this squad who, again, I cannot say enough about, this PJJ 2.0, Optimal Gaming, whatever you want to call them. And again, Optic is still on that roll. They're still moving toward winning, I believe it's 12 straight 2Ks, because they did win that game. But hats off to those 5 guys for putting in the work, trying to win every gunfight that they possibly can. And they give Optic problems. They give them a lot of little scenarios where Optic doesn't look like the steamroller that they should be. And big ups, especially the guy that we have as a guest tonight, Hesah. He seems to have a little bit in the water where he might know how to. He might see the light. Answer. Yeah, it's not that I don't know if he has the answer,
hit him up.
He can see it. He can see it. My man Hesah can see it.
I can see it, guys.
See, he can see it. He can see it. So, next thing I know, Optic Gaming takes them out. I love the matchup still. I really hope to see it a lot more in the future. I hope those 5 guys continue to grind, stay together, and I hope that they continue to play Optic, because that's the best. To me, that is one of the best matchups you can get week in and week out for just pure entertainment value. So SSFRI / New Look Ghost, however you want to look at it, play Optic Gaming this Wednesday night in our fight night. And that is my 2K recap, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, and there you go. And after that, actually, on fight night, once again, and I want to hear what you guys feel about this matchup. SSFRI against Optic Gaming. This is our first time taking a look at this New Look Ghost Gaming roster. Me personally, I feel like Optic's going to run away with it. But if this team actually wants to make a statement, we're now going to see what they can do against the best team in the game. How do you guys think this match was going to turn out? In whose favor?
Optic. I feel like Rezik and Idenaz are great players. Like, I don't know what they're. I'm not saying Icy and Franchise isn't, but I would be happy with those 2 players. They're great. What was wrong with them? Maybe personality. But other than that, like, Idenaz didn't speak perfect English. I don't know. They were playing good with that team.
Idenaz has better English than me sometimes. I'm saying, I lived him almost a year. You'd be surprised. Well, no, I'm just kidding, though.
Jacob, what do you think is going to happen in this matchup, man? A little bit of exposing or just what we expect?
I think it's going to be more of what we expect because the team just formed. But like I said, if Speedy can start just to really work on himself, we could see this team overthrow Optic. I truly believe this team has the talent to overthrow Optic. It's going to come down to Speedy being the X factor and kind of like, in my head, you can be the best player in the game, right? You can drop 30 bombs every single night. But if you're not making your teammates better, is your team really getting better?
Yep, facts.
Colin, I see you.
Master.
For real, Colin, I see you there charging up your answer. Got the hand moving. You was licking your lips. Let us know how you feeling. Unleash, Colin.
I truly believe that this Wednesday is a make or break moment for this team because of how crazy roster mania has been. Those 5 guys with those 5 personalities cannot get 14-0'd. If they lose 14 rounds and don't win a single one, I don't believe we see SSFRI next Sunday in the 2K. I just don't believe it.
Really?
They need to keep it close to give each other confidence moving forward. You cannot put this thing together and immediately win a championship. Everybody thought the Miami Heat had a God squad with Bron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, and it took them forever to get their feet underneath of them. Yes, we had Golden State get put together and immediately win championships, but sometimes it takes a little work. It takes a little patience. You've got to look around at the people in the same room as you and say, maybe we slipped up here and there. Maybe we should move on from this and not break up and try to find a new team and try to replace some parts yet again. Yeah. Take your wins and then take your licks at the same time. You don't really learn anything by winning. You learn a hell of a lot more by losing, because when you lose, you can look around, you can figure out what your mistakes were. So if they lose, hopefully they lose in a fashion that is not embarrassing, because those guys with those personalities do not want to get embarrassed at all. So I look at this as kind of a make or break. I pray I'm wrong, but they need to not get embarrassed. They need to keep it close. They need to make this kind of decision right now to say, look, let's go into it. Let's slow the pace down. Let's try to dictate our pace. Let's not let Optic run around the map, do whatever they want to do, rotate in the correct ways that they always seem to figure out where your weak point is, and they hit you as hard as they can right there. Slow them down. Figure out where you want to push. Dictate the speed. Bang them down low and make sure that they can't do what they want to do, and maybe take a few rounds off of them. See that confidence. Feel it.
Hey, I feel it. All right, so upcoming matchup, we're going to see the New Look Ghost Gaming, or SS FRI. They're going to be playing against Optic Gaming on Fight Night. Make sure you tune in. You know, this handsome brown guy might be there. But other than that,
we might be playing Reciprocity as well.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, were you supposed to leak that? Are you leaking intel?
Uh-oh.
No, intel, man, on the flank, dude. I don't know. I just got carried away.
Hey, I actually want to see that. So I hope it happens. I'm going to get the email tomorrow, so we'll see. But other than that, anything you guys want to close with? Any last words to the chat? If you have any questions, make sure you ask them as well, because we'll answer them.
I really hope that by the time this roster mania ends, everyone actually made some decent decisions that you can live with, because there is only two events left. So, Velly.
It's not happening.
I really hope you guys are really thinking about the big check and not just the check right in your hands right now, because that, it's gonna be a great two events to see like who places and like what teams are made, man. Like we were talking with Jake, like, dude, every team is forced right now. I feel like, other than like the top two.
I agree.
They're just forced.
The grass is always greener. They think the players are going to play the same in a new environment. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't. Very few times players can go to different teams and perform at the same high level they've always been at. You're not gonna get the same help. You're not gonna have the same attitudes, the same friendship, same chemistry.
And that stuff matters. I swear, more than anything. I swear to goodness. Hey, especially with Team Crush Mode.
If we had a roster lock, could you imagine? We had a freaking roster lock where you had to play on the same team. But once you made your decision,
they lose their mind.
Right?
I'm telling you, that's the one thing I wish more than anything about this esports scene for Gears, is that we develop and figure out how to do a roster lock, because at that point you have to look at who you've made your bed with, and you're going to sleep with them every night, whether you hate them, whether you've cheated on them. You are going to sleep with that person come hell or high water, so you better figure out how to do it. You better figure out how to make that shit work, because there is a roster lock.
All right. One thing we want to touch on. I'm sorry to cut you off. Finish up. I'm sorry.
No. I actually think I see what you're talking about, and I really would like to speak on that. So go ahead, Vel. I think I see what you're talking about.
You talking about Identims?
Well, keep missing me? Oh, never mind.
Identims back in Latin America. Yo, Identims is back. So
is he really?
The king of Mexico might have a challenger now, because the old Splice team that we used to saw, we're gonna see him again. And I honestly feel like I dig it. I dig it, because now Identims is coming back way better now to his old teammates who got way better without him.
Didn't they play second before he got picked up?
And they weren't this good back then. They weren't this good back then.
Wait, no, that wasn't. That was
not Vegas. They got
Paris.
Vegas.
Paris.
Well, they got third in Vegas,
Paris.
second with Idennis, and then they got
They
like
beat
top.
you guys, Hesah.
Yeah, man. Don't talk about that.
They beat that Ghost roster too. They beat everybody. They literally beat almost everybody to get second place. They beat Echo Fox,
Yeah.
E6,
They did.
Envy, Ghost, Fire Knight.
Best
They
teams in the
literally beat everybody.
We
to
were
get
the
that.
only
Except
team
one
that
team.
we were the only team that I got 2-1. Every other team got 2-0. Not to be like proud about that or anything, but just had to
Yep.
put it out there
That's-
since we're
that's-
flight.
Hey,
I-
wasn't that
I-
the game
I
where
took
Attorney
one.
Boom shot at
Got me
himself or
one.
something? Or got him killed?
No, that was Vegas. But
Okay, never mind.
I
never
have
Remember
mind.
that, though?
But Eternity did choke that game.
He
He had a boom shot. He had a boom shot. He didn't know
that's what
about
I'm
a trick.
talking about.
But no,
The boom
this is a
shot.
different boom shot on Reclaimed. He didn't know you.
Okay, I knew it
He
had to
didn't.
do
He
with
didn't
a
know
boom
this.
shot.
He didn't know this boom shot angle, and we ended up losing Reclaimed.
But yeah,
Go
but
ahead.
this team is back. And honestly, like, Mexico, they're a fucking problem. Because Identims is so much better now than it used to be. Chaos, 5 times better than what it used to be. Adverse, all like they're so good. And like they're back. They're back. And Colin, is this good for Gears? I think
Yeah.
that
Amazing
this
for
team.
Gears. Not just that, but you
They
know what?
won,
You know what's
Rockstar,
better for Gears? Did you look at the numbers from this past Sunday on what teams were in what 2K? Did you see
100
for
teams?
Latin America?
Latin America.
100 teams in LATAM. My God, that open bracket's gonna be popping off left and right. I'm gonna be losing my mind out there. I'm gonna be walking up and down trying to speak some Spanish. This old white boy don't know any of it, but I'm gonna be talking to him. I'm gonna be letting him know. I can't wait to see him.
100 teams. Oh my
100
god.
teams.
Yeah, we had like
I didn't know that was
Our
a thing.
measly
What the
50
heck?
somehow.
Yeah.
Our measly 50 teams. I'm gonna be losing my mind. Can't
It's crazy.
wait.
Cool.
Listen.
As my
Listen,
man Bart Scott
Mexico-
said, can't wait.
All right. So that's pretty much everything from you guys. To everybody out there in the chat, I want to thank you for another beautiful stream. Shout out to Twitch. We have like what 250 to top that off, and then we had 250 on Mixer. So we pulled in over 500 viewers this stream. So that's beautiful. Shout out to everybody at Mixer. I love you guys. Especially people at Mixer that put us on the front page and everything. That's sexy.
Facts.
But yeah, Tony, I don't know if you was prepping for it, but also if you guys wanted to go ahead and support the show, make sure you go ahead and check out the store. You know, we got jackets, we got shirts. You know, it's getting cold outside. Make sure you copy you something. You know, I might do a giveaway or two. I might have to buy Colin, a shirt so you can wear it with a blazer. But,
Fresh.
I'll make it an
Low-key
inline.
fresh.
I'll put it on an
I like
inline, baby. I'm
You need to
making
make him
it
a customized on the flank blazer.
Facts.
oh,
Okay.
Are you challenging me,
Okay.
Pia? Is that a
Okay. You're
challenge?
making moves.
No, I'm giving you
Yo.
ideas. What do you mean challenging? I'm giving you ideas. I ain't.
yeah, that's
You need
really
suits only on those
Sicario.
weekends.
If I had that on the desk, Velly, would you demand that I stood up and flayed it out? Just let him see the whole.
I would lose it. I would lose it. But yo, shout out to Sicario for the sub. We never asked for any of this, but we really want to thank everybody that supports us out there. It's fun. We do it for passion, for the love of Gears. But we'll catch you guys next Monday. And hopefully this roster mania shit is gonna slow down. We'll have some great news for you. But until then, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching On the Flank.
Adios, amigos.